All right, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. And here's what we had for today. We had an uptrend, big uptrend. I didn't see many good entries, but we'll go through it again. Maybe I missed stuff, but wasn't really crazy about any of this. There's got to be some like that one. Is that a short? We'll see. But big uptrend. Let's take a look on the daily chart. And I just happened to do this today. So here's my channel that I've been watching for probably a month or two. And I think I just saw this today, but the breakout to the low side is pretty much a measured, the overshoot to the low side is pretty much a measured move of how big this break is. You can see that right there. So I think that helps strengthen my belief in this. But you can see today, big bullish day. Probably if we're working to a new low, this is probably just maybe something like that. Let's see. Probably like that. So, we could correct to the other side of this channel and then we'll probably keep going down. We could test this channel too. But yeah, it looks, it's been looking like it's a downtrend for several months, but you can see the bias now is definitely down. But let's take a look at these. I just feel like I must have missed something in here because there's got to be some entries, but it was tough. The corrections today, we'll get to them, but they didn't look much like this. They looked more like sideways correction. So anyway, let's see. I would have been here at 5 o'clock. I like that one. That's a good second entry short. So it looks congestive, so I'll mark it green, but that's a double test. Nah, I think you gotta. That looks pretty good to me. It looks like it's going into the midline, so I'm gonna mark that aggressive. Nice second entry short though, and I mean if you look at this as a double top, first entry failed, second entry long, and it doesn't trigger until actually right there. So maybe you did that too. So I'm about to put that right there. But anyway, then we come down here and we're just chopping around and we bounce, we make higher lows. I would look at this as a double bottom, first entry failed, second entry. So I don't like this. I wouldn't enter on this because I wouldn't have had this trend line. Well, actually, this trend line wouldn't help you anyway. So this is in no man's land. But if you also suspect there's a trend line here, which it doesn't look like anyone would really suspect that at this point. I don't even remember what I was saying, to be honest, but yeah, I don't think you want to take this. Let's see, maybe you would get trapped looking at it like that. But this swing closes below the EMA, so typically I'm not looking for stuff like that. This is a second entry. This is really tempting. Opening on its low, closing on its high. This is second entry. I'm about to mark that green. Confirming this channel. Then you get a failed second entry short. So again, this one doesn't touch the EMA. I typically like to see that, but it kind of looks like a hidden second entry long as well, and it's off the trend line. And then we go get an overshoot, and we're just chopping around. That's first entry, so you can't take that, even though it looks good. And this is at the overnight high, so you don't really want to go long unless it's a really good setup. And this is just sideways. First entry, second entry, you might risk that, but The EMA is right there. That's a big problem. So I don't like that. And I meant to talk about this. I have this light blue channel right here. That was valid for most of the pre-market hours and right after the open. But after that, it was just, we moved into this bigger channel, the transparent channel. So keep that in mind. I think I was over here. So this is just chopping around. So we do go sideways until here. So you could bet that there's probably a bunch of people just exiting their longs here, and that's what brings it down here. But then we bounce, and you do get a failure right there. So a discussion I had on the forum was talking about having room to the highs on failures, especially, or at least in this context, that's what we were talking about. So here you do not have room to the highs. Not only is it sideways, but you don't have room to the highs. So that's reason to not like this typical failure in congestion. But then we got a second entry long, and this is in congestion too. So I marked it aggressive, but it is second entry long. So you might take that. Get a failure right there. It's in no man's land. Might be off a trend line, but looks like a trend line to me, but it's just risky. First entry, second entry. If you take that inside bar, maybe, but I don't like that. Looks like one leg down. And look at, okay, here come these like sideways corrections that I was talking about. That just looks like, I don't know, it looks like a channel. And we get like one, I didn't mean to draw it like that, but we get like one leg back. We get the spike and channel back almost. And yeah. So I saw this. We come up here, you hit this high, test it once, test it a second time. That's and this looks like you could argue it's a double bottom here. So if that'd be a second, that would be the second entry. You might take these, but not if you see this yellow channel. Actually, you don't want to take that. So yeah, not if you take, yeah. If you see that, definitely don't take it. And this is just I think this is just the first entry, but you could look at it as, here, you could look at that as a failed break lower. So you might take that. Oops. Yeah, we got a second entry here. It just looks congested. And I think that I think I was watching. I think the ATR was like 2.7 at this time or something. So really watch that when you're in this congestion. Watch that ATR. But look down here, these dojis, that should be enough to make you a little suspect or whatever the word is of that trade. Chopping around, going sideways. We bounce off the yellow channel again. It looks like they probably trapped a bunch of longs here. And then we break lower right here. And then they take it a little higher, hit that level of resistance again. Get a first entry, failed second entry long. I'm not failed second entry long. I wouldn't be looking to go long there personally, but you also get this failure right here. And you might think, hey, it's got the support of this yellow channel. Maybe you take that. But again, you want to be watching the ATR. And I think you would have gotten a scalp here, but 44. Yeah, you got a scalp there and nothing more. That's another thing. You got to be careful on the failures, because this isn't off a trend line. But yeah, there's room to the highs, and I think on this failure, I wouldn't be looking for the highs here on my failure. I'd be looking for the highs here, and you can see it came one tick short of that. But if you were following the ATR, you would have been good. Come down here, we bounce off the channel that is actually there for the whole day. I think that's confirmation. Yeah, that's where we get confirmation. So I think maybe a bunch of traders saw the midline and liked what they saw from that midline and hopped on this lower high. Actually, this is a failure right here, so you can see a bunch of people took that, but I don't know, I wouldn't take that. Maybe Macro Market. This could be like an advanced entry. And we come up here, you get a break of this channel. We go sideways. And this is another one of these sideways corrections that kind of looks like a trend. I mean, you can see we get one leg down and then we get a second leg down that looks like it's got like two legs in it. And even this one little leg looks like it has two legs in it. So anyway, we buy it back, form this level of resistance, and then again, this sideways correction. And we just keep going higher. So, and then we're too far from the EMA in here. And we form this pink channel. Hit the top of the transparent channel, sell off, two legs, back to the pink channel. Actually, this is a failure right here. First entry, failed second entry. I like that. The trend's up all day, and then we just kind of go sideways. We're chopping higher, and you don't want to go long in this on a day like today anyway. This doesn't look promising. Get a break. Second entry doesn't set up, and now we're trending lower. And no setups in there either. So that's what I saw for today. Maybe, I don't know. I must have been missing one or two good trades. We'll see what Max says. So I hope everyone had a good day. I'll be back tomorrow.